Do you feel it? The cold that creeps along your spine? The weight in the air pressing against your skin? You are not alone. They are here. The Gidim, the forgotten dead. Souls cast adrift, lost between the worlds of the living and the dead. Once they had names. Once they were loved. But time is cruel. Their voices faded, their offerings ceased. And so they wander, unseen, unheard, hungry. You may not see them, but they see you. They drift through the shadows, whispering in the wind, reaching for warmth that will never be theirs again. Sometimes they come as a chill in the night, sometimes as a flicker at the corner of your vision, and sometimes they stand right behind you. The people of Mesopotamia knew this truth well. They honored the dead, left offerings of bread and water, whispered their ancestors' names so they would never be lost. But those who forgot, those who mocked the spirits, they learned too late. The Gidim do not forgive. So remember, light a candle, offer a prayer, speak their names, do not let them fade. For if you forget the dead, they will not forget you.
In the land of Mesopotamia, where the first great civilizations rose and fell, the dead did not always rest in peace. Some spirits lingered in the darkness, forgotten, vengeful, and hungry. These were the Gidim, the restless dead. Unlike modern ghost stories where spirits haunt out of unfinished business or tragic deaths, the Gidim were feared for a different reason. In Mesopotamian belief, the afterlife was not a place of peace or torment, but a dim, lifeless existence in the underworld, known as the Kur. Souls depended on the living to provide them with offerings of food and drink. Without these rituals, a spirit could grow restless, cold, and desperate, slipping through the veil between worlds to search for what had been denied. The Gidim did not haunt places. They haunted people. Those who ignored their ancestors, failed to give them proper burials, or denied them offerings were at risk. The spirits would return, whispering in the night, draining the life from the living, or even slipping into dreams to steal a person's very breath. To the ancient Mesopotamians, the Gidim were not just myths, they were warnings. To the people of Mesopotamia, the Sumerians, Akkadians, and Babylonians, death was not an escape, but an unending existence in the cold, desolate underworld known as the Kur. This shadowy realm, ruled by the goddess Ereshkigal, was not a place of torment or reward, but of silence and emptiness. Here, the spirits of the dead, known as Etemu, lingered forever, sustained only by the offerings left by the living. The living played a crucial role in the fate of the dead. Families honored their ancestors with rituals, leaving food, water, and incense at household shrines and tombs. These offerings ensured that the spirits remained at peace in the underworld. Without them, a soul could wither, its hunger turning to desperation. Some spirits, however, never reached Kur at all. Whether through violent deaths, improper burials, or being forgotten by their descendants, these lost souls were doomed to wander the realm of the living as Gidim. A Gidim is not just a ghost. It is a soul untethered, cut off from the world of the dead, and denied the comforts of the living. Without offerings, it starves. Without remembrance, it fades, and so it roams endlessly, yearning for the warmth of life it can never again possess. The Gidim did not rest in silence. They moved unseen, drifting between the walls of homes, carried by the night wind. Their whispers curled through the darkness, soft, unintelligible, but insistent. Those who neglected their ancestors or denied the dead their rightful offerings soon found themselves haunted. A shadow at the edge of the firelight, a chill in a warm room, an unseen presence breathing just behind them. These were the warnings, the first signs of a Gidim's hunger. For the people of Mesopotamia, dreams were a bridge between the world of the living and the unseen realm beyond. And it was in dreams that the Gidim spoke most clearly. The spirits did not simply appear. They invaded the mind, whispering, pleading, demanding. The longer they were ignored, the more restless they became. They brought fever, sickness, and misfortune, draining the strength of those who refused to acknowledge them. The breath of a Gidim was said to be a cold touch upon the skin, a weight pressing down on the chest in the dead of night. Some never woke again. To prevent such hauntings, the living made offerings, bowls of water, small portions of food left outside their doors or at family tombs. These acts of devotion kept the spirits at peace, ensuring that they would not rise to torment the living. Without these rituals, the Gidim grew desperate, their hunger turning to rage. They did not simply seek sustenance. They sought retribution. For those who ignored the spirits, there was no escape. The Gidim could not be outrun, could not be reasoned with. And when their whispers became screams, when the nightmares turned to waking horrors, the punishment was severe. In the ancient city of Uruk, where the mighty kings of Mesopotamia once ruled, there lived a merchant of great wealth and ambition. His name has been lost to time, but his tale remains, a warning passed down through generations. He was a man who valued gold above all else, a man who scoffed at the traditions of his ancestors. While others honored the dead with offerings of food and water, he dismissed such rituals as foolish superstition. For years, the merchant ignored the whispers of the past. He let his family's altars crumble, their clay bowls dry and empty. He laughed at the warnings of the priests, refusing to waste his fortune on the dead. But the dead, they do not forget. On a night when the moon hid behind the clouds, the wind carried something unnatural through the merchant's home. A voice, dry as dust, cold as the grave, called his name. He woke with a start, his heart pounding in his chest. The room was silent, empty, and yet he was not alone. The voice returned, closer now. It rasped his name again, insistent, hungry. His body turned rigid, his breath shallow, as an invisible weight pressed upon his chest. He tried to call out, to move, to scream, but no sound came. His wealth, his silver, his golden treasures, none of it could save him. His wealth was untouched, his home unbroken. But the merchant himself was hollow, his eyes vacant, his soul claimed by the very spirits he had abandoned. The people of Uruk whispered of his fate for generations. They spoke of the merchant who ignored the dead, and in turn was taken by them. The people of Mesopotamia feared the Gidim, but they were not powerless against them. For generations they learned how to keep the restless dead at bay, through sacred rituals, divine protection, and the wisdom of their priests. They knew that the world of the living and the world of the dead were dangerously close, separated only by fragile barriers. And when a Gidim crossed that boundary, they had to act swiftly. The most powerful defenses were written in sacred texts, incantations, inscribed upon clay tablets, calling upon the gods to command the spirits to return to their proper place. These spells, chanted by priests and exorcists, were believed to have the power to drive away the Gidim, sending them back to the underworld where they belonged. Some of these inscriptions read, "O wandering spirit, return to your dwelling. Do not haunt the living. Rest in the realm of the dead." Protection was not limited to words alone. Fire, water, and divine symbols played crucial roles in warding off the dead. Priests purified homes by burning incense, the smoke driving away unseen spirits. Bowls of sacred water were placed at entrances to prevent a Gidim from crossing the threshold. Amulets, engraved with the names of gods like Enki or Nergal, were worn to shield the living from the grasp of the dead. But the most important protection was remembrance. The dead did not rise in anger if they were honored. Rituals of offering, bread, water, oil, ensured that the spirits remained at peace. To forget the dead was to invite them back. To wander, to hunger, to seek retribution. To the people of Mesopotamia, the dead were never truly gone. They lingered in shadow, waiting, and as long as they were remembered, they remained at peace. But those who ignored them, who let their memory fade, would one day hear the whispers in the wind. The cities of Mesopotamia have long turned to dust. The great temples, once filled with prayers and offerings, now stand as silent remnants of a lost world. But while the stones may crumble and the names of kings may fade, one thing endures: the fear of the restless dead. The legend of the Gidim did not vanish with the fall of Sumer, Akkad, or Babylon. It transformed, taking new shapes and new names. Across the world, the belief remains: when the dead are forgotten, when their spirits are denied rest, they return. They linger in darkened corridors, whisper through the trees, appear in the corners of our vision. Always watching, always waiting. Even today, echoes of the Gidim can be found in literature, film, and art. In horror cinema, ghosts seek vengeance. When their burial rites are disturbed, reminiscent of the ancient Mesopotamian fear of the unburied dead. Stories such as The Ring and The Grudge mirror the relentless torment of the Gidim, spirits trapped between worlds, punishing those who ignore their existence. The idea of spirits bound by unfinished business transcends time and culture. The Gidim's presence can be felt in folklore across the world. From the Draugr of Norse mythology, warriors who rise from their graves, to the Pontianak of Southeast Asia, a woman who seeks revenge after dying in childbirth. Even the Catholic concept of purgatory, where souls linger if not properly prayed for, echoes the Mesopotamian belief that the dead must be remembered to rest in peace. In every age, every civilization, humanity has carried this fear, the dread that the dead do not simply vanish. They remain tethered to the world, searching for what was denied to them. And in the stillness of the night, in the moments when the wind turns cold, we wonder, are they near? So remember, never forget the dead. Light a candle, whisper their name, honor their memory. For if you do, they will not forget you. The Gidim are more than just forgotten ghosts of an ancient world. They are a reminder of the power of memory, of the weight of the past, and of the ties between the living and the dead. To be remembered is to exist, but to be forgotten is to wander forever. Many cultures still practice rituals to honor the dead, lighting candles, leaving offerings, speaking their names. Whether we recognize it or not, these customs persist because deep down we share the same ancient fear, that those who are neglected may return. And perhaps, on some lonely night, when the air turns still and the shadows lengthen, you might just hear them whispering your name. If you found this story intriguing, subscribe for more ancient mysteries and forgotten legends. But before you leave, be sure to honor the spirits of the past, for who knows, they may be watching.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.